Hello, everyone. My name is Gaston from Markman Advisors, and I'm here with this week's Markman Minute, where we look at the intersection of patent litigation and investing. You can catch all of our content at mimesislaw.com under the IP Flow tab, or check out IP Flow on Twitter, along with all of other Mimesis' other great content. So for this week's discussion, I wanted to focus on the apparent conclusion of a long-running patent litigation situation between a well-known patent enforcement entity in the U.S. called Vringo and one of China's largest hardware manufacturers, ZTE. Now, for those who aren't familiar, Vringo is a publicly traded company that was in the news for years based on a large-scale patent lawsuit that they had filed against Google. And the patents in those cases had to do with internet search engine technology that Vringo had acquired from the old search engine Lycos. Vringo investors and those that have followed that situation are very familiar with the unfortunate demise of that case, where the patents were found invalid, even though Vringo had initially been successful in obtaining a jury verdict of infringement against Google. One of the other things that Vringo has tried to do on the patent side has to do with another portfolio, in particular a patent portfolio that they have acquired from Nokia. And this is an example of what we call privateering, where a innovative company like Nokia takes some or all of their patent portfolio, in this case just a small piece, and outsources the enforcement of that portfolio to another company. So in this situation, Vringo had acquired the rights to a certain slice of Nokia's wireless portfolio and has embarked on a campaign to try to encourage hardware manufacturers to give them licenses. Now, the first target and the source of a lot of interest over the last year or so was ZTE. Now, ZTE is one of China's largest technology companies. They're very active in the smartphone and wireless device space around the world. And Vringo had tried, and we've covered in the past, Vringo's attempts to try to get ZTE to take a worldwide license under the Nokia portfolio. And investors in Vringo, having been battered by the results in the Google case, have really looked at the ZTE litigations, and they were worldwide litigations, as the really best chance for Vringo's share price to appreciate. And in a kind of a surprising twist, just last week, it was announced that Vringo had settled with ZTE. Unfortunately for investors who were perhaps hoping for something in the range of hundreds of millions of dollars, the settlement was actually a lump sum global settlement for only $21.5 million. This obviously came as a disappointment to Vringo's investors, and the share price has suffered since the announcement of the settlement. But at the same time, Vringo can now say that they've brought in some operating capital to continue their efforts, and there's already talk about who Vringo might decide to go after next with this portfolio. Now, from a patent lawyer's perspective, the challenge that Vringo may have in terms of asserting this portfolio against other companies like ZTE really comes down to a couple of things. One, this case against ZTE was very expensive and very time-consuming, and like I said, involved worldwide litigation. So if Vringo hopes to recover more than what they did from ZTE, they very well may have to follow the same playbook and go after another company and really try to execute on a patent enforcement strategy worldwide under this Nokia portfolio. Second, there's always a danger when you take a lump sum license with a larger company that becomes kind of a ceiling as to what other companies of similar size may pay for the rights under the portfolio. So it's going to be interesting to monitor whether or not Vringo is able to take the ZTE result and turn it into a favorable one long term. In the meantime, they at least can point to the fact that unlike the Google case, this case wasn't a zero. And perhaps now the settlement with ZTE allows them to refocus their energies on other targets in the same space, or another option available to them would be to use the money and maybe go out and acquire additional assets now that they've shown that they can at least drive a significant settlement with a larger, international company. So it's a very interesting situation, and while it may not have paid off for Vringo investors so far, it's definitely something that's worth watching as the company decides what the next steps are going to be. That's it for this week's Markman Minute. My name is Gaston from Markman Advisors. You can catch our content again on IP Flow tab under mimesislaw.com or on by following IP Flow on Twitter. Thanks again. See you next time.